Okay, so I thought I would document. I probably should have started this Sunday or maybe even Saturday, but I was feeling so bad Saturday. It was crazy. Today is day 3 of my quarantine, and I'm a mess. Um, I started feeling sick like Friday evening. Um, I lost my voice. Like, you can hear my voice right now. Um, this is kind of what it was like by Thursday, but I every week I lose my voice at school, so it wasn't a big thing. It wasn't anything strange to me or anything. Um, by Friday morning, it was getting worse, but that's what I thought it was gonna be. I thought it was gonna be just a regular um, lose my voice like I do every week because I'm yelling and outside across the playground for kids to hear me from like 100 feet away, um, which I know I shouldn't be doing because I have a whistle, but they tend to ignore the whistle more. Anyway, the I did a couple things. I went and um, sat down at my computer, started playing one of my games that I usually play, and I just was like, my throat started hurting really bad. This is like between 5 and 6, and I don't even know what time it was exactly. It was sometime between 5 and 6 when I got home. Um, and so I'm like, okay, interesting. I kept playing. By about 8:30, um, my head was pounding. I wasn't feeling well at all. Um, my throat was hurting more. And so I decided to go ahead and go to bed. When I woke up at 7:30 ish, Saturday morning, I couldn't even talk. My throat felt like it was on fire. It was like, oh my gosh, it hurt so bad. Um, I was like so congested. I tried to say something to my son and I couldn't because my throat was so bad. Um, my head was pounding. I was congested, like I said, and I was like just body aches all over. And I barely was able to get up out of bed to go to the bathroom and then make it back to my bed. And so I'm like, I'm not going anywhere. I was able to barely send a couple texts out to a couple friends to let them know that I wasn't going to be able to do anything to Saturday evening because I'm like I'm really sick. At that point, I'm like I probably have COVID. I'm not sure, but so by the time I went back to sleep, it was probably around 8, almost 9 o'clock in the morning when I finally was able went back to sleep. But um and then I slept until around 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I woke up, felt a lot better, but the whole entire time that I was sleeping from 9 to 2, chills, sweats, chills, sweats. It was like insane. The body ache. Um, I had my heater on in the room, but yet I was still freezing and shivering, and it was not good. It was not good at all. Um, and Then I was able to actually eat something, and thankfully I could taste it and smell my food, so that was good. But I heated up my food, I brought it to my room, I stayed in the bed all afternoon Saturday until probably around 7 or 8 o'clock at night. Um, first thing I did though at 2 o'clock after I woke up, is I called the urgent care to see if they had any available um, COVID tests, because I had a feeling that if I just got up and went, they wouldn't have any. So I called. They said yes, we're out of them for today. You got to come back at 8 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, okay, I'll try. So Sunday morning rolls around. I'm up at like 7:45. I'm out the door. I'm at the um, urgent care by 8:20. And there's a line outside. Whoa, there was a line of people outside. There's probably about 5 people outside waiting. So I'm like, okay, fine. I get in line and I wait. And 25 minutes later, I finally get to the reception to check in. And she says, since you are showing symptoms, I'm going to ask if you can fill out the rest of information on your phone in your car. I'm like, that's fine. I can do that. And then she dropped the bomb. Probably about 2 to 3 hours of a wait until we call you. I'm like, 2 to 3 hours wait for a test? Whoa. I'm like, okay. So I complete the registration on my phone. They send me a text message back after my registration is complete saying, okay, you have an appointment at 12:48. And I'm like, 12:48? That was 8:45, 9, 10, 11. That was 4 hours later. I'm like, crap. Okay, but they said 2 to 3 hours and they call. What am I to do? So, stupid me. I go through Starbucks drive through, then go home. An hour later, they call me. So it's like 10:15. They call me. Are you still in the parking lot? No, I got a message after submitting registration that I would have an appointment at 12:48, and the lady who called me was like, God, I hate that system. I'm like, I can be there in about 5 minutes. I live just right around the corner. She's like, okay, well, just come on in and let the receptionist know that you just got called when you come in. So I get there, and I probably had to wait about 10 minutes in the outside before they actually came and called me back, and they did the test, and I waited about 20 minutes for the results. This whole time I'm like, it's gonna be positive, it's gonna be positive. Doctor comes in, your test was positive. I had a big sigh. I'm like, yeah, I was afraid of that. I would have come in yesterday, but I just couldn't get up to walk around, let alone to drive. They're like, yeah, that's okay. So 5-day quarantine, they told me. The doctor said 5-day quarantine. So, yeah, 5-day quarantine, which should be done by Thursday. So as for symptoms, so like I said, Saturday was really bad. I mean, really bad. Like I said, I could not get up, could not move off my bed. I migraine, really bad headache. the congestion, the chills, the body aches. And I'm sure there was a fever in there. I couldn't find a working thermometer, and when I did find a working thermometer at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, it was 99.8. So, and I was feeling better. So I'm sure it got up into the hundreds, and I have no idea what it was, if I had a fever or not. But I'm probably sure there was a fever. Um, Over the next day and a half, so Sunday and yesterday, Monday, it was just the heavy congestion, the sinus drip. Oh God, that's so annoying. Um, the sore throat still, and it's kind of like a dry mouth, and the weird part is, okay, so all these symptoms right now, with exception of one thing, I just feel like I have a bad cold, honestly. Um, with the exception of this symptom, which is very bizarre, and I've never had this with a cold before. But like I said, I have like a dry mouth and the sore throat, which is normal, but it kind of extends up into my nose. So I kind of feel like if I breathe in, and then, or if I can breathe through one nostril sometimes, that it feels dry, like I'm breathing through my throat and it's dry, but it's in my nose. That's like the only weird thing that tells me this is not just a cold. Um and yeah, I'm coughing, but I'm coughing up phlegm, so it's not a dry hacking cough. Um so if this is what the Omicron variant is, then thankfully, being 100% vaccinated and with a booster, thankfully that it's feeling like a bad cold, um, with some other really strange symptoms, like I said. Um, there is another positive right now, is that my 13-year-old son has been with me in quarantine since Friday. Um, he's not showing any symptoms right now. I'm trying to get him an appointment so he can be able to go back to school, because our teacher on special assignment, or I don't know what, he's one of the guys in our district office, that handles um, a lot of this COVID related stuff right now. Um, when I sent an email, um, to let them know that I'd be out of school, um, because I tested positive, because I had to notify them, that as long as my son isn't showing symptoms, if I can go get him tested at our school-based health clinic and he comes up with a negative test, he can go to school, even though I'm positive in the house. So would be helpful, but right now I can't even get a hold of the school-based health clinic. So my poor son's in the living room right now on his Chromebook. I've told him, hey, it's Tuesday. Get on your Chromebook. You need to look and see if you've got assignments. Um, and so that's where we're at right now. It's Tuesday morning. It's day 3 of my quarantine, and I'm hating the the stuffiness. I've always hated it anytime I got sick. But in all honesty, this is like the worst sick I have been since 2 years ago. Um, before the pandemic officially became a pandemic. Both of us, both my son and I, were really sick. bad cough. I was having trouble breathing. Um, we went to get tested for the flu, or just to see what was wrong with us. Um, and not the flu, not they couldn't. They said it was an unknown virus. This is about the same, almost exactly to the day. It's like I think it was like January 20th or something like that when we went and got um looked at because we were so sick. Um I missed like a week and a half of work because my cough was so bad. Every time I coughed, my head would pound. Um, so I honestly, after what I'm going through right now, I honestly believe that in January of 2020, my son and I both had COVID before they even had a way to detect what COVID was. We already knew it was spreading around the world at that point. Um, but it was apparently only in China at that time. Um, but I'm thinking that honestly that's what we had, um, because of all my symptoms that I had at that time, and had to get an inhaler to be able to breathe properly. Um, and so COVID is not a joke. Make sure you're vaccinated and make sure you get your booster. Make sure you wear a mask when you're outside of your house. Take all the precautions and you'll be fine. And it'll probably be just a bad cold, if you do catch it. Especially this Omicron variant is just absolutely, absolutely contagious. Um, we've had just feels like left and right people that I know saying, I just got tested positive. I have COVID. I'm not feeling well. Um, at this point, I'm afraid that there's no way we can not catch it. So the best thing you can do is make sure you're up to date on the vaccines. Make sure you've got your vaccine. Make sure you've got a booster if you're eligible. Um, make sure that you wear your masks. Make sure you wash your hands. Make sure that you are being careful because this really sucks. And I'm grateful. Thank you, God, that I'm not worse, that I'm not in the hospital. And I'm praying for every single person that is sick enough to be in the hospital and that's worse than me because they need the prayers. They need help. They need prayers to heal.